Welcome to Tournament in a Tea Break by Britwatch Sports. I'm joined by Jake Davies and Abigail Johnson, and I'm of course Ros Satar, and we're at the Aegon Classic in Birmingham, where we've come to the conclusion of what we think is actually a dream finish for a final that had more withdrawals than you could shake a stick at. By the time we thought we came up here, Jake and I were convinced that we were actually going to be the top seeds. We are left with Kvitova. Now, obviously, this is her second tournament back after that dreadful knife attack at the end of last year, and her progress has been nothing short of remarkable, I think. I mean, guys, what do you think?
I'm surprised at how quick she's progressed since coming back from the injury. I didn't think she'd play this well so soon. The thing I'm impressed with is that she's beating decent grass court players already in her comeback, serving well. She's playing great.
I think with Kvitova it just goes to show that there is this difference in mentality between those players who've won Grand Slams and those who are still on the rise. The moment you see Kvitova play, I mean, we're 6 months after she had that knife attack, and yet she is striking the ball with so much confidence. She's really going for the lines. She just rips into the ball, and she plays with so much belief in herself. And I think that people, when they were saying, oh, is Kvitova going to come back soon? Is she going to struggle? I think sometimes you can forget how much they've already achieved. And I think that Kvitova is one of those players who, I mean, they've achieved so much and they've sacrificed so much and they've poured so much into what they're doing, you know, that maybe they shouldn't be doubted as much. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should be expecting more from them because they have a champion's mentality that's come from so much sacrifice and so much hard work.
And I try my best not to back against a champion.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why I asked her, you know, if you could go back and tell your 2011 self before walking out onto Wimbledon one thing, what would it be? And I thought it was interesting where she was just like, you know, have that belief in yourself, and that she said that, you know, on her way through that she'd beaten like a few people where she, you know, they thought that she was just going to get wiped off the floor, and that just gave her that confidence. And I think you've seen that confidence. I mean, when she came out today, she came out to play. But the one thing that we've noticed, more so when she played Brody than when she played Smykova, is that there's still a bit of lacking power in that serve. Like when she was playing Brody was like hammering balls down, whereas she hasn't quite got that. But what she makes up for, is the placement.
Yeah, definitely.
Where she puts that ball is just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely, so precise. And because I remember people saying about it with the serves of the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, it's not so much the power as the variation that makes it so difficult to contend with. And I think you can say that about Kvitova as well, because she just absolutely nails those marks, really.
But interestingly enough, she doesn't count as... I mean, obviously with Serena out of the picture, with Sharapova not in the mix for Wimbledon, and with Vika, well, her comeback's been a bit shaky. You know, it is wide open, as wide open, if not more, as it was at Roland Garros, but she's not putting any pressure on herself to be seen as one of the sort of top 5 contenders. Now, do you think that's just her as a coping mechanism for preparing for disappointment, or do you actually think that, you know, maybe she's got a point?
I'd be interested to see how she really thinks, because in press conferences she's been saying she hasn't got any target, she's taking it match by match. But I'd still put her in the top 5 of players to look out for at Wimbledon because of her pedigree on grass. So.
Oh, she's definitely in my top 5.
I think it's really interesting when you look at how Federer came back at the Australian Open, and he was 6 months out, 7 months out with injury, and he says match after match, and he was looking good, and he's like, oh no, I'm not a lead contender, I'm still coming back, and taking that pressure off his shoulders. I mean, we could all see how well he was playing, but just the lack of that pressure on himself is what really enabled him to free up and play so well. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened with Kvitova, because she literally has no expectations for herself, and therefore she can just go out and swing.
I was going to sort of touch on her chances of the final, but let's talk about Barty first, because then we can wrap them up in between. I mean, Abigail, you saw her in Nottingham, so maybe you want to sort of give us a rundown of how you felt she was there, and then her performance today.
Yeah, so when Barty came to Nottingham last week, she literally 2 days before had been playing the doubles final in the French Open with Casey. They came runner-up. That was kind of tough for them to take. So she didn't have much warm-up. In fact, I did an interview with her and she said her warm-up for the grass court season was 30 minutes hitting before the match. That's all it was. And yet she still managed to come through a really tricky opener against Tatiana Maria, and she did that in 3 sets. And there were a few more unforced errors than its characteristic, but you can just see how much doubles has helped Barty's game. There was so much variation. She was taught a slice backhand at the age of 6, I think she said. And it's so obvious because she can hit winners with that shot. That's how good it is. And she just has the whole court covered, And so when she's playing well, when she's feeling the ball like she was doing today, she really is difficult to get past. Yeah. And I think it showed in Nottingham. She had a shaky showing against Konta when she lost in straights. But I think that Nottingham kind of helped her find her rhythm for this week. And she hasn't had the toughest draw up until now, but beating Muguruza, I think, sends a statement of where her form is at, because that was her first top 20 win, right? And she was really, after the first set where she was kind of getting pushed back a bit, she really kind of was tactical and really went for it, and she did a great job. Yeah.
She only had 2 top 50 wins before this week, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think that maybe I'm being a bit uncharitable, but I was quite surprised that Kvitova knew as much as she did about Barty. And I don't know why I thought she wouldn't know, but she really had seemed to have done her homework in terms of what she can expect. So let's get on to the matter of the final, chances for the final. I mean, we've got a fantastic narrative for either of them, really.
Comeback queens.
Yeah, both of them, massive comebacks.
And, and the thing is, Kvitova had done what Barty has done, which was to take some time out, to get over this sort of exhaustion of the grind of the tour already. So she has a sort of sense of what Barty's sort of going through on her route back. And then, of course, nobody would have wished what happened to Kvitova on anyone. But she's come back now with almost a renewed passion. I spoke to her in Stuttgart when she came back after the 2015 one, where she was like, I was just exhausted and I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. Whereas now when she talks, it's like kind of, I really miss this. I missed you guys. Whoever says to us journalists, oh my God, I missed you. But you get a sense that she thought that this had been taken away from her and that she was never going to have a chance to do this again. But come the final,
I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. But I'd still put Kvitova as the winner.
2 or 3 sets.
I'll still say 2, maybe 2 tight sets. I'll say.
You would say 2 tight sets.
Man, I hate predictions, and whatever I say, it's going to be the polar opposite. So just giving away some spoilers for tomorrow. Let me think. Well, Barty is going from 2 very different players. I mean, both of them hit really strong, but she's facing a lefty now. She hits a lot sharper than Muguruza. I mean, if Kvitova's on the ball, then really she should win. And she's been playing well this week, so it's hard to bet against her, but I did think Barty would get the upset today, and it wouldn't surprise me if she won. So, oh my word, I'm gonna take the safe road, and I'll go with Kvitova probably in 3 sets. I instantly regret that decision.
I think if Kvitova plays her best, she can beat anyone on grass.
Exactly.
On a day.
Yeah.
So
I'm just trying to think. What was which was it? Was it a second round match where we had the shrieking botch? And I mean, it was which was of course it was the first time that the clouds have really rolled in. So we've gone from super quick grass that's as hard as nails to the going is good to soft, and red rum had gone running down the side probably. Yeah, I mean, she really wanted that, and you could see that that frustration of not being able to close that out,
But beating someone like Mladenovic in 2017 in the second tournament back is just amazing.
Yes, especially after the year that the Frenchies had this year. Okay, so I suppose that means that I've got to do my prediction.
Yeah, you can't back out. Come on.
Okay. I think having seen her fire in that Mladenovic match. And then today she just had really come out to play. I mean, right from the start, she was banging down winners and aces here, there, and everywhere. It was okay. The only thing that worries me is I wonder whether she's due a rocky match,
That's
or whether Kiki was her wobble, and then now she's back on form, because that's what always strikes me about Kvitova, is that, you know, she'll play an absolute blinder for about 2 or 3 matches, and then all of a sudden have this like God Almighty wobble, and then if the player's sharp enough to take their opportunities, then it's game over. So I don't know whether Kiki was her wobble or whether Barty will be her wobble. But the one thing that impressed me is Naomi Brody had said, you know, she really wanted to learn a lot from having played Kvitova, because she said, you know, any short ball I gave her, she just absolutely nailed into the corners. There was just no chance of getting anything. But also, obviously, they're both tall girls. They've both got long levers. And you know, Brody was sort of saying it's not just that though. I mean, she moves great from side to side, but she's also deceptively quick coming forward. So where Barty would probably get a lot of winners off that slice, she's going to struggle with someone like Kvitova, who actually, for somebody who's quite tall, is fairly nimble.
Yeah.
And so I think we're actually going to be in for a 3-setter. And I will say, I'm the same as you. I can't not back a champion. And I think, you know, I mean, they obviously both want it, but I think, you know, this would just be the icing on the cake for the comeback for Kvitova. But either way, it's a fantastic narrative.
One thing I would say in regards to Barty today, what she was doing really well is staying in the long rallies, and Muguruza at times looked like she thought she'd hit a winner and it came back at her. And I just wonder how Kvitova would cope with that if it was happening to her, because we know her as an inconsistent player.
And we say this with nothing but love in our hearts.
Yeah, definitely. But I just don't know if that would rattle her, if the slices kept coming back, if the ground strokes kept coming back, and might throw her rhythm, and then she might unwind quite quickly if that was the case. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe we saw a little bit of that with Kiki. And
I think it depends how often Petra can get on the front foot. I think if she can finish the point in 1 or 2 shots, then it's going to be a long day for Barty.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think
maybe a short day for Barty, actually.
I think it is. If those rallies go long, then that's when it gets interesting, because we know that Kvitova can just rip the outside off the ball, you know.
Yeah.
But it is when you have the long rallies, see how consistent Kvitova is, and that could say a lot, because Barty looked like she could rally all day today.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, this is the longest. At least Barty's had a good run in Nottingham, or got some matches under her belt in Nottingham. Whereas I think this is Kvitova's first sort of foray onto the grass for a while, and it's the first time she's ever been past the second round here. So you know, I think we're in for a 3-setter. I'd give her the edge. And did you go for Kvitova?
I did. I said
That's all
Kvitova in 3.
Okay.
Worth mentioning that Barty has 2 finals tomorrow, singles and doubles.
Yeah. So, but now this is it. I wonder how that'll affect her sort of mindset.
She got a question today about tiredness and stuff, and she very much has doubles on a level with singles. Both are just as important to her. And I think that she kind of, I mean, she doesn't view it as too much tennis. She takes it in her stride. So I don't think she's going to crumble with fatigue or something tomorrow. If that's going to happen, it'll probably happen in Eastbourne. But for now, I think that she's okay. And I think that doubles is probably quite helping her in the singles aspect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've been listening to Jake Davis. You've been listening to Abigail Johnson and Ros Satar. This has been Tournament in a Tea Break for BritWatch Sports.